It's that time again.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Watch out!
Here it comes.
Watch out!
Here it comes. Welcome to the Crtsde podcast. I'm your host, Wayno, and with me, no people's champ, we have Sydney's second richest man, Stu Benson.
It's basketball Christmas.
Basketball Christmas. What a great time to be. I'm super excited, as you can probably tell.
We've already been on the phones this morning, and there's been trades of draft picks and players and cap room. It's heating up.
Yes, of course, guys, welcome back. This is our 2019 NBA draft coverage, our live reactions to it. Of course, I'll edit this down later today. It's going to kill me. And we'll be covering to Vince later tonight, who's stuck at work. Look, a lot goes into a day like today. So, look, I know our demographic.
We've been training all year for this.
We're built for this. A big shout out to all our hoops dads and hoops mums and hoops parents that, you know, have put in the hours to either get today off or taking that quick sneak at work, checking out who's going where and all the goss. So big shout out to you guys. This show is for you.
We're doing it for the fans. We're doing it for the dads. We're doing it for anybody who's just like us. You've been working hard this year, and this is your day. So good luck.
Of course, on the Facebook page, you can find us, Crtsde podcast. Come check out the Facebook page, guys. And, of course, there's a post up there. If you want to have your say on the draft, you'll see a post. Feel free to comment. We'll cover some of that later today. Stu, like you mentioned, already some minor moves, if you will.
Yeah, there's been. Look, I think probably the most surprising was seeing the Minnesota Timberwolves jump up to the number 6 spot. So very interesting. I know our boy Joey's going to be keen to see who they can snag.
Joey!
He's already over Facebook. He's excited. We're excited for you, Joey.
Just hope it's not another Johnny Flynn.
You can't talk about Johnny Flynn. That's he who shall not be named.
Yes. Oh, hey, I've been hearing a whisper that there's a 3-team trade possibly about to go down between, I believe, Atlanta, Cleveland, and Charlotte, involving Kevin Love ending up in Charlotte.
Yes, I'm reading this as well. So we'll see. Also interested to see that the Pelicans have already offloaded the Lakers' number 4 pick. Glad we gave them that.
Man, how good is David Griffin, really? I mean, he has just cleared house so quickly and so efficiently. Like, no wonder this guy was so sought after.
Yeah, and obviously got what he wanted, and that is that he's got an ownership who have just said, do it. And he doesn't have any meddling other parties, obviously, in the war room. Mm-hmm. It's just his call. And this team's going to have his fingerprints all over it this season. And I'm sure he's not done.
Yeah. Fantastic.
All right, so here they all go. They're introducing our lottery picks now. We're just seeing RJ Barrett, of course, Steve Nash's godson, repping Canada. Crazy.
Hey, early draft highlight. I know we had a few last year, but how about Bol suit?
Wow. I don't get it.
Did he get that from Ed Hardy? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's all it's lacking is some sequins.
How are you going to wear a shiny spider web suit?
Is it
like?
Oh, it is. I'd only seen some photos of it. I'm just looking at it now live on television. Holy shit.
I was just watching the interview with him, and someone said, "Oh, do you like Spider-Man?" He goes, "No, not really." I'm like, "Dude, that's all you're going to get asked about all night."
Well, if it doesn't represent Spider-Man, what is it?
Yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell may be a little bit excited, but hey, like,
wow. Okay, I only saw the photos and I thought it was white, but now that I'm seeing it on the screen, that is the gaudiest thing I've seen since. Oh man, that's terrible.
Hey, you mentioned previously in the private chat just about like the the suits and how the NBA, like, this has really become like a statement for a lot of players.
Yeah, look, it has. I don't think it was taken as seriously as it used. Well, sorry, I don't think like back in the day it was taken as seriously as it is today. In that, you know, these photos, these images, that handshake is immortalized for all time. And I think there's a lot of players who, if they could do it again, they wouldn't. But going into these drafts, these guys have got stylists. They've got people who want to make names for themselves. It's all very specific what they wear. Everything's got a story.
What is that? What is Darius Garland wearing?
No, I know, right?
What is that?
Guys, we're watching this live. This is incredible. Some of these people, it's like they're on a catwalk, like they're in, Fashion Week in Paris. It's bizarre. I do think, though, again, saying that everything's perfectly styled and there's a story behind everything, I'm a big believer that Zion is purposely wearing white. The famous white suit wearing LeBron James, it was a giant Michael Jordan-sized suit. But he wore white, and everybody's saying this kid's the best draft prospect since LeBron James, and sure enough, he turns up today wearing white on white, which, I think it says a lot.
If you get a chance, listeners out there, what is Tyler Hero wearing? My God,
that's out there. No socks.
That's a curtain. That's a curtain material.
That's weird.
That's instant regret. I actually lost my train of thought now, but wow.
The suit was that bad.
Smashed my peripherals and I'm done for the night.
Man, Kelton Johnson from Kentucky looks like he's about to faint. He's heavy breathing and I think his parents are holding him up.
Is that a Kenny suit? A Carl Kenny suit? This guy busting out the 80s prints. Like, oh my goodness. Wow.
But we promise you, listeners, this won't be a fashion show. A lot of this might hit the editing room floor. But at the moment, there's some interesting looks. Your draft class is, I tell you what, they better put up on the hardwood because they're not doing too well on the stage.
Oh, goodness. Oh, Jesus. I was going to say, if you get a chance, watch out some of the pre-draft show talking to Zion Williams. Like, kid, just, like, happy for him, man. Like, super nervous and, like, he's being interviewed and every now and then you'll just catch him looking up and, like, staring into the camera with this big, oh, shit moment, like, grin on his face. Hilarious.
Yeah, it's hard to forget sometimes that, these guys are 6'7", 6'8" behemoths of humans. But at the end of the day, I mean, they're like, for the most part, they're kids. We're talking 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. And if you think back to yourself at that age and you're about to play professional basketball for your career and be paid millions of dollars, you must catch yourself just thinking, what is happening in my life? It's amazing. Okay, here's your guy.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, I haven't checked any pre-draft measurements, and I know he didn't work out for a lot of teams. I'm curious as to how tall Zion actually is. It'll be telling when we see the final photo of all the draftees at the end. The guy doesn't look above 6'6" to me.
Who's the guy in college? That's not giving you much.
That narrows it down.
No, it was friends with the Morrison twins. Friends with the Morrison twins, built like a truck. I want to say someone Robinson, played for Lakers for a little bit. Played for Portland, played for
Tariq Black? No,
I want to say Terrence Robinson.
The guy that was drafted by the Kings?
Terrence Robinson, maybe. I fucking can't remember his name.
He's like a 5-year player or something.
I don't think he's in the league right now, actually. But I just remember watching him in college, and like he was just a unit. Like he was just absolutely huge. And when he came into the league, how he just looked like a regular small forward. And sometimes I wonder about Zion if it's that case. Like he's a big boy, but he is a big boy. Like stats wise, looking at the numbers, the dude's huge.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to bully his way. I mean, we saw the report during the season. If he was playing in the league in the 2018-2019 season, the only player heavier than him was Boban Marjanovic. That's incredible.
Crazy.
The only player. And it was only by like 3 pounds or something. And, obviously in Australia we're talking kilograms. We're talking like, 1.5 kilos, 2 kilos in between Zion and Boban. That's insane.
Yeah.
So you wait till they're going to get him in the gym. They're going to lean him out a little bit, but he'll replace it with muscle, man. I'm telling you, he's going to be a weapon. You think, I don't know, we're seeing him right now on my screen, Charles Barkley running around. And I think, that Charles Barkley, Larry Johnson, I don't have to be taller than you because I'm stronger than you type of player.
Yeah, 100%. And just the athleticism is going to make up for a lot as well. Like, oh, man. I'm really excited. Like, look, I know on the Facebook page I posted the picture of all the draft busts over the years. But, I'm always willing to give these kids a chance. Like, they haven't played an NBA minute just now. Fans, I think, just need to stay a bit patient because it's not going to be instant success for a lot of these players.
100%. And a lot of these teams are rebuilding. That's why they're lottery teams. Unless they've, picked up a trade and they've picked up a pick, from years gone by that they've held on to, they are going to rebuilding situations. So, it's going to be dependent on who they're playing next to, who they're playing for, and where they're playing. So, yeah, you've got to give them time. And, I think the three of us as courtside hosts, we're always, give them a chance. So, I'm with you on that.
Do you have your eye on anyone? Like, I think we pretty much kind of know who our top three are. I think that third one is even a bit of a question mark for me. But do you have your eye on anyone else in this draft?
Not really in particular to like where they would go and where they would fit. Like, I just think, I do think that the top three in order are locked in.
Yeah. Okay.
But failing that, there's a lot of teams that need a lot of holes plugged. So, I mean, look how these players worked out, how they see them fitting into not only what the team looks like today, but obviously there are other moves that they're planning on doing this summer, free agents they're targeting. It really is open, and I don't think it's just open because of the talent level. I think this is quite a deep draft and probably deeper than everybody's talking about. I think we'll look back in a couple of years and there's going to be significantly more than just three standouts.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think there's so much movement to happen this offseason that teams necessarily can't just go, we need a point guard, because most of them need a point guard and a small forward, or a small forward and a centre. So I think there could be a few whoa moments, not Anthony Bennett number one moments, but yeah, there's going to be some whoa moments. And here comes Adam Silver right now to give us our first.
Out to the podium. How long will Zion stay on the clock?
And of course, we've got the New York faithful Boo Birds will be in the room.
What is their problem? It's kind of amusing, though.
Yeah, they just do it because it's just historical. They have to. It turns out though that when they booed Porzingis, they were on the money. they were getting in early.
Come on, Silver, get on with it.
How tall do you reckon Silver is? I reckon he's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, I reckon.
He seems pretty tall when he's giving the handshakes.
5 minutes to make their decision. Woo.
I thought it was 3. It's 5, is it? Okay. All right, so for those listening, whilst teams are on the clock, I'm going to be refreshing our guy, Woj, Adrian Wojnarowski, on Twitter.
The draft killer.
To see what Woj bombs are coming through.
Woj, a.k.a. the draft killer. He's going to wreck every pick again this year.
Oh, you've got a secret, have you? Let me blow that.
Yeah. I think he's supernatural. That's what I think.
I just don't know how he does it. I really don't. His latest tweet is that Minnesota is engaged in multiple conversations on the number 6 pick acquired in the deal with Phoenix. So, Joey, they might be drafting for somebody else. I'm sorry. Oh, come on, Minnie. Minnesota, please. If anybody's listening, if I can put it out to the world, keep the pick. Keep the pick. Unless you're getting a haul, keep the pick.
I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe a gamble for Minnesota is not the way to go. Maybe bringing someone, use that pick to bring in someone proven.
Yeah. You know what's cool? I was reading the other day is the one name phenomenon. When you think about like the greats, like you only have to say one of their names, right?
Right.
You say if you say Will, if you say Bill, I mean you're pretty much on tune to say
Russell.
Bill Russell. If
Yeah.
I said Russell, you probably wouldn't think Russell Westbrook first and foremost. Probably not. Unless you were super new to the game of basketball and that's all you knew.
Yeah.
Michael, you know who you're thinking about. Kobe, you know who you're thinking about. LeBron, Carmelo, Anthony, like even these guys who was, middle tier, but one name, and it's just something about it. Zion, seriously, it's like the dude was just preordained to be the number one pick in a draft.
Oh, isn't it? Look at those Pelican fans, man. This is cool. This is cool for these markets.
Cool, yeah.
Like, this is really cool. Like as good as Davis was in New Orleans, like there was no buzz really for him coming into the league. So this is like a big deal for these guys because potentially they're looking at losing their star, who, let's face it, sulked last year, and some part to good reason. But this is good for New Orleans.
It's crazy the way it's worked out. He's got his fly open. That's embarrassing. Oh, somebody needs to. We're watching this live, guys, and Zion Williamson's sitting in his chair.
You don't want any slippage when you get on that stage. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, somebody needs to live tweet him or tell somebody in his posse. Oh, man, that's funny. But, yeah, no, look, it worked out freakishly well to lose your number one draft pick and franchise player and then get the number one draft pick.
Look at that block.
In
Jesus.
The historic 2019 draft. I mean, this guy is just lock it in. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. The only thing that's going to stop him is him. If he gets an injury, which, touch wood, we never hope anybody does, but the only thing stopping him is him.
Or the food in New Orleans.
But as you mentioned before, and we've seen some pics of him, when the camera's off and him looking around in amazement, he's just a good dude. Like, I saw some people hating on him, on Facebook pages and stuff yesterday, the internet trolls. And how can you fault the guy? He works out, he plays hard, he's aggressive on the court, he's lovely off the court, he's from a good family. He gives time to people when they want to have photos, and, he's going to be a good role model.
Yeah. That's just people who don't have a shot at landing him. That's it.
Yeah, it's fans of other teams.
Yeah. Do you really need 5 minutes to make the first pick in this year's draft? Come on.
Yeah, I know.
God damn.
I like the comparisons. I mean, we all know them. We're seeing, young Blake Griffin in terms of explosiveness. We're seeing Julius Randle in terms of bullying. We're seeing the young freight train version of Charles Barkley running down the court. I'm telling you, fans, he's going to be all that and more. Cue the Anthony Davis jersey burnings.
Anthony who? That's what you mean?
Here we go.
It's official.
Nobody's surprised.
It's official. Good on him. Good on him.
So there we go. Ladies, gentlemen, gents. No tie. I like no tie. That's a cool look.
Keeping it cash.
Keeping it very cash.
Keeping it Saturday Night Fever.
Maybe he can't do his fly up. I mean, look at the size of him.
Yeah, Jesus. He's a unit, isn't he? He's a unit. Do you want to wear no socks on? You wear no socks. Who am I to?
Yeah,
who am I to
do whatever you want, dude. Just don't blow out like Oliver Miller.
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you, man, I reckon he's 6'6", maybe.
He's only a little bit taller than Silva, right?
He's not that big, man. I think the height measurements are all shoe measurements and they're all extended measurements. I genuinely, I think you're going to see him walk past some players this year and they're going to tower over him. All right, Woj, what do you got for me?
Oh, that's nice.
He's emotional. He's thinking the real MVP.
Shout out to all the mums. In a non-creepy way. That sounded creepy.
How you doing, mums? How you doing? We're at home alone right now. You want to come and watch a draft?
Kids are at school.
Oh yeah. You know what? I think Woj might have been silenced. There's
you know what?
He's actually very quiet.
We talked about it on the day of last year's draft, and I think on a mini-sode afterwards, and how much it really did spoil. Isn't like the day? And if that's the case, I kind of hope that because he's hired by ESPN, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they've sold him to not to wreck the fucking broadcast for them.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the league said something, because it did actually cause a big sort of internet chatter and shitstorm last year that nothing was a surprise because it was all broken on Twitter. So I honestly, I'm looking at the lack of tweets right now. Woj hasn't tweeted in 8 minutes, and we've had the number 1 pick and the number 2 teams on the clock, which compared to last year, guys, we were getting updates every 20 seconds on every movement before it happened. So I think you're right. I think something's been said.
Man, I'm really happy for this kid. Like, yeah, everything you just touched on before.
Check him out, guys, on television. We're seeing main streets of downtown New Orleans, and they're going mental.
He's just made like 1,000 memes for when that team's losing, though. But for this moment right now, happy for the kid.
All right, there's a familiar logo up on the center stage, Mr. Hunt.
Woo. Don't fuck it up, Grizzlies. I won't be able to record I won't be able to function for the rest of the day if you do not take Jar. We said goodbye to a hero. I can't even talk about that right now. I can't even.
No, I thought that was a bit too soon.
Very emotional.
You are getting a very good player either way. If they shock the world and take RJ, which they won't, very good. But I'm telling you, Ja Morant, he's got it.
He's the goods, right?
Oh, he's got it, man. Honestly, he's got it. Depending on what a team needed, he could have been the number 1, I reckon. He's got it. He is a baller.
I have been pacing myself, watching like highlights and like researching on the kid, because I was just like, I don't want to dive straight in,
Yeah. And what do you think, though?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited with the new direction, and here we go. We didn't even wait. Wait. We don't need your countdown.
Straight into it.
Nice. Yeah, look, I'm, I was saying the other day to someone that the move of Conley and, since the breakup of the grit and grind team was like long overdue. I'm just glad we've got a better management in there now who seem to be making some positive moves, despite what old Germano might say. Very sad to see Conley go after 12 years. That's a long time with a franchise. But I'm kind of happy for him. I don't know if that's the right place for him in Utah, but hey, they're getting a guy who's never had a tech foul in his life, a guy who's never been ejected in his NBA career, which is, just speaks to the character of that guy. I can't say enough nice things about Conley, but man, as far as the future moving forward, this kid, the potential with this kid moving forward with Jared Jackson is huge for us.
Yeah, 100%. It's time, I guess, to move on, like it is with all things, and as eras change, and that grit and grind was a very, I guess, sort of early 2010s style of basketball, and most teams employed it. But the future's agile, the future's multi-positioned, and the future's pretty fast. And this kid ticks all the boxes, man. He's a floor leader. He genuinely loves passing, but man, he can attack as well. Like, he's a lot of dimensions to his game. He's going to bring a lot to your team. I mean, we're seeing some highlights, man. Kid's got bunnies, and he attacks.
Good God. Was that Derrick Rose? Derrick Rose?
Pretty hot player profile.
Yeah, look, I'm happy, and like I said, like it was time. It was overdue for a new direction. If we can somehow get rid of Parsons today, man, you will not be able to wipe the smile off my face.
That'd be all your Christmases coming at once.
Oh, it would. But even then, for Memphis, like looking forward on a serious note, we have got a lot of money coming off the books next year. So
yes, yep,
like a shit ton. Like we just moved.
Yeah, you do.
We just moved Conley's contracts. Parsons is the end up of this season. I mean, already that's huge.
Yeah, it's a fine line. You've got to future-proof yourself because you want to hang on to these guys and you are going to have to throw money at them. But, you can do a few moves to make it an exciting destination and maybe get a free agent or two. And Memphis has always traditionally struggled with free agency.
We have, but what? My counter to that is, though, the one credit I'll give to Wallace when he was there is that we retain guys. Once they get there, they're happy to stay. Like they sign their extensions. So although the big eight, we're never going to be a big free agent destiny. I don't feel. But man, if we can get exciting, maybe that sparks some interest. And I don't know. I just think the that blue collar Memphis, community players really vibe off that, and they tend to stick around.
Yeah, no, I think so as well. The trick is, as you said, getting them there. Once they get there, they tend to like it. They tend to like clearly that they like the city. Clearly they appreciate the fans because they re-sign, they stay back. Gasol talks fondly. Conley, of course, will forever, but there are guys who thoroughly enjoyed their time at Memphis, and I love JJ and also Jar to stick around and be the next Conley and Gasol, the next guys who stick around for a decade or so. I love his dad. His dad's got the pimp suit.
His dad's a Mac. What are we talking about? His dad's a Mac.
Tell me he has a cane. Tell me he has a cane.
Whoa. That's awesome.
His dad's staring down all the other cameras. He's getting his airtime. All right, our Knicks are on the clock. They're down
New
there
York.
just,
all right.
Another 2 minutes. Don't muck it up, Knicks. Come on, do it for Phil. Do it for Steve. Come on.
If they don't go RJ, they're going to get booed out of this stadium. Who can they pick from Latvia?
Christ. I might go and grab that big dude from Georgia.
Even better, they draft the Russians that beat Crtsde.
Wait, oh yeah.
It's Russian mobsters at pick 3.
And we're trading them immediately to Dallas.
Here we go. Silver's out. Come on, New York. Do your fans a service.
Here we go, and he's excited.
Yes.
New York Knicks fans, he is excited.
That's
I don't
what
think it's
we
just the number
wanted.
3 pick excitement. I think he's excited to be going to New York. Spike's happy. The fans are happy. I can't even hear a boo.
He's going to be good, this kid, man. He's got it. He's
No doubt.
got it.
He's got pedigree. He's had a ball in his hand since he could, since he could sit up straight. He's going to be very good.
I'm actually excited to see what he does. I mean, look at his stats. He did that with his running teammate Zion Williamson. This kid's going to go off.
Oh, he arguably had a better collegiate career.
Yeah, you got to be happy, Knicks fans. This is, I mean, you're moving. I think I said on the show a couple of weeks ago. It's like, especially with a team like New York. I mean, you got to stop banking on stars that you don't have and start investing on the stars that you do have. The stars of the future. And I mean, you got a guy like Kevin Knox. You've got RJ Barrett now. I mean, Mitchell. Man, that's a great young tandem.
Totally agree. And it's funny to say that a number 3 pick can be a sleeper in a draft, but I think with all the hype on Zion, I just think this guy's, for want of a better expression, has flown under the radar to a degree. He is a amazing basketball player, multi-positioned, and can do it all. Honestly, Knicks fans, this is it's a great day for what is, hopefully the end of the rebuild and the start of your new direction.
Yeah. Oh, they just compared him to Jalen Rose. Thank you, Chauncey. Just made my day.
So Kobe's coming back and dropping 81 on him.
How dare you? He didn't guard him for all 81, did he?
A lot of them.
When you take that sort of weight and expectation off, this Knicks team, and just every year, just Knicks are after this superstar, Knicks are after this superstar. And you sit back and you have a look at this roster. I mean, as far as talent-wise and, being a young team in the league, they look pretty good on paper. I like a lot of those pieces. Even Frank Nicotine. I'm going to say Nicotine because I still can't say his last fucking name. But
didn't he ask for a trade?
I did hear that, but also heard that he came out and said that wasn't the case. But they've got some great pieces, man. I think if you're a Knicks fan and you just look at this situation we're building young talent. I mean, we didn't even speak on Dennis Smith Jr. either. I mean, you've got some great young talent.
100%. I like the look of their roster. And, we all love Coach Fizz. What kind of backing he has from manager, I don't know. We know the fire Dolan chants are going to keep coming. But, to look at the roster, to look at the coach, I'd take it. I like it.
Take that for data.
Take that for data. He's, we've got a lot of emotion on stage right now with RJ and his dad.
That's nice, man. That's a nice moment.
But again, he's got that baller pedigree. I mean, his old man played with Steve Nash. Steve Nash is RJ's godfather. He's been playing basketball, honestly, since he was in a cot.
Wow. He looks...
That's all he knows, man. He is a baller through and through.
He looks the spitting image of
yourself. Isn't it incredible how alike they are?
Whoa. Sorry to cut you off, man. Wow, look at that.
No, it is uncanny. You know exactly what RJ's going to look like in about 20 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Dang.
All right, so we've got the Lakers logos up on screen. Of course, we had the number 4 pick traded to the Pelicans for Mr. Anthony Davis, which has now been shipped off allegedly. I don't know if it's official, is it?
To Atlanta, I think.
Yeah, so we're saying Atlanta, but I guess it's not official until Mr. Silver announces it. We know if Woj would tweet, for God's sake.
Woj been put on mute.
Oh, maybe he just blocked our accounts because of the way we shipped his efforts last year.
Also, a high possibility.
You don't want my Woj bombs? we can add that to the list of people. So Vince has been blocked by Jeannie Buss and half the NBA. Yes. And now we've been blocked by Woj.
I've been blocked by pretty much every player I've ever shat on over the course of 8 years. There's not many left for me.
Mitch Richmond?
Oh, Mitch, don't you? Someone brought up Mitch Richmond at work the other day, and I was like, shut your mouth. Shut your dirty mouth.
Amazing.
For any new listeners out there, you'll have to go back to the tapes and listen to that one. My one and only encounter with Mitch Richmond in Phoenix at the All-Star Weekend. Yeah. Let's just say sometimes it's good not to meet your idols.
Keep that image of them and how they would interact with you in your mind, and then they can never taint it.
Yes. And if they're wearing a long brown leather fucking trench coat, don't approach them. Don't approach them.
It's as simple. That should have been your warning sign, mate. Okay, so Woj has just tweeted, I think what we all know, and that Atlanta want to pair Trey with a particular player from the draft that I'm ruin it, so we'll see it shortly, but it's who I thought was going to go number 4.
Let's see, LA picking for the Atlanta Hawks with pick 4.
There we go.
DeAndre Hunter.
Another young team on the up and up and building through youth and giving these guys court time, and that's the Atlanta Hawks.
Why are they going to show that on this?
Trae Young.
Why was that the first thing they showed to? DeAndre...
What did they show?
They showed his father passed away when he was 7. Thanks a fucking lot. He's going to look back on this and watch the coverage and go, oh, throw that in my face again. Like, come on, man.
That is interesting.
Why would that be the first thing they went to? Like, why?
House burnt down at 11.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Man, look, good pick up for the Hawks. Like, they've also got another pick right later.
They do.
Is it 9?
Yeah, they've got their pick, yeah.
You got to like what the Hawks have done in such a short time. I mean, they look great. We touched on it throughout the course of last year. Like, some of the teams they knocked off, like, they just went into games prepared and ready to go. Like, full hats off to the coach. I can't remember his name. What's their coach name?
Mental blank.
Yeah. You know, we saw this team knock off teams like Oklahoma City Thunder, who were, essentially a pretty stacked team. Super impressive, this young Hawks team. I think they keep on this route, keep adding, young talent, and it's going to work out for them.
It's definitely going to work out for them, and it's a confidence thing. They came into last season believing in Trae Young. Obviously, had a very good, preseason and gelled really well with everybody in camp, and you look at professional football, you ride your quarterback and you go into every game confident if you've got a good quarterback. And then that's what Trae Young brings to that Atlanta Hawks team. And to add pieces like Hunter, it's honestly, these guys are going to be full of confidence. And based on just the losses they had last season, as you just said, they were 2 and 3 point losses. They weren't getting blown out. Yeah. They're going to be competitive. And again, the East is going to be open. Looks good in that Lakers hat, though. All right, so we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers on the clock.
Do you think we'll get any mid-draft trades?
Well, we're hearing that a lot of people in Cleveland are being spoken about. particularly obviously Kevin Love. That might happen today. And here's the man himself, Woj, on TV.
I wonder if his fingers are all taped up. They bound his fingers so he can't type to Twitter. He's very quiet this year.
Oh, no, he's got his phone in his hand.
How professional.
He's got his phone in his hand. He's got his Twitter account open in the background. No, he's live. He must have been sanctioned by the league.
He got a slap on the wrist and said, "How would you like
100%.
all your access gone?"
Yeah.
All right, so I've got my eye on Tyler Hero. I know he's not going to go top 10. He's not going top 10, but he's a guy I've watched a fair bit of his high school basketball. You know, some of his Kentucky stuff as well. You start off a little bit slow in Kentucky, but man, I tell you, I got a feeling about this kid. You can shoot the ball. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Clay, a little bit of Korver, and I just think he's going to be a good pickup. But he's probably going to go, I'm thinking he's going to go somewhere between 15 and 20.
Okay. My sleeper, I'm surprised they're talking about him as late in the draft as they are, but I like Kevin Porter.
A lot of people like have him as their sleeper pick. Like is he kind of like a little bit like Ja Morant, who had like a bit of explosion during the playoffs and caught everyone's eye, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think he might have popped up on a few radars a little bit later in the season. But I tell you what, in terms of what you want from a wing, he's very prototypical. Hang on, here we go. Cleveland's pick. Okay.
Interesting. So they take a point guard, right?
That can't be for them. That can't be for them. That doesn't make any sense. They've drafted a point guard. I know you take the talent on the board, but that doesn't make any sense. They've got a starting point guard. They've got a future point guard. I don't get the pick. Darius Garland, number 4.
I don't know, unless they're looking to maybe move Sexton to the 2 or something like that. I don't know, man. I'm with you on this one. I feel like this is pick for someone else. I think this might be packaged. Garland is going to regret his draft day outfit in years to come.
I don't think he got changed. Isn't he still wearing his robe from the hotel?
But it's so comfy. It's so soft.
Bizarre look, dude. I know these ballers these days are all about fashion and Instagram, but that's an odd one.
Okay.
Yep, we'll see.
Do you, Cleveland? Do you?
We're just seeing some highlights at the moment, and how happy, obviously, Zion Williamson and RJ are for each other after both being drafted. It's a genuine friendship between the two of them.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the Timberwolves pick?
Yeah, so the Timberwolves have received the number 6 pick, which was the Phoenix Suns pick. In return, the Phoenix Suns receive Timberwolves' 11th pick and Dario Saric. So the Suns dropping down the board. Strategically, I guess it seems like they're clearing cap space and room. Maybe a free agent on their radar that they can't afford just yet, but would like to.
So, in the past, I mean, the focus for a long time in Minnesota is getting a point guard in to run the show. I feel like they need to deter from that direction. You know, because it feels like every draft, they're gunning for that next point guard. I feel like you just got to get your point guard. I mean, they've still got guards on the books. You know, I think Teague's still on the books for a while as well, as injury prone as he is. I think they look to free agency to fill that position and just get some good talent. Like, get some good talent for Josh Okogie and Towns to build around.
It's true. Our pre-draft coverage is circling on Kobe White, which indicates that perhaps they are going to draft a guard. But
well, I mean,
we'll see.
A solid 2 guards would be fine.
Yeah.
Especially an outside shooter. Like, you know, I think that's always been a missing piece there in Minnesota for a long time. Is that, you know, but man, I'm interested to see where they go with this.
Yeah, moving Saric opens up minutes in the forwards as well, so they could draft big.
I think Minnesota will do all right. You know, if Covington is due back from obviously a massive injury-plagued season from last year, but the sample size you got from Covington, you know, gave you enough hope that the following year, being healthy, you're going to get production out of that guy.
He's so underrated. The guy's a baller. He's a worker, and he's got a good motor.
Just give him Wiggins minutes. Just do that. Do you want W's in the W column?
Wiggins minutes. You'd give Wiggins minutes to a bloody ball boy.
Dude.
Here we go.
Okay.
All right, Jarrett Culver taken by the Phoenix Suns and will be moved to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Great collegiate career. All right, next year what we're doing is we're getting courtside socks made up and we're going to send them over to New York and we're going to leave them at the hotel room of every draftee.
Good sir,
And
that
we're going to get
is
ourselves on television because not only are they not wearing socks,
fantastic,
their trousers are tailored halfway up their calves. So we're going to get logo all over the shop.
You know what we do? We let's get some done, and we'll sell them on the Facebook page, and get some out to our listeners, and we'll start a movement, a draft day movement, to bring the socks back. We'll make them really high, and you can just wear them over the top of whatever. But we need to fight back on this no sock trend.
Vote for socks.
I mean, it's got to be better than a burger towel, right?
Oh, don't start him. I like this pick. It kind of brings a bit of explosiveness to the offense. The guy's a known defender, but he's got a great offensive skill set. So I think, I think he brings a lot to the table, and that's a good trade up by the Timberwolves. I think they should be very happy with the pick. Oh, and now they're showing comparisons to Jimmy Butler.
What? How are you going to do that to mini fans, NBA? Come on. How are you?
Isn't that terrible?
Vince is automatically going to hate this kid now.
Yeah, Chauncey Billups player comparison for those not watching the draft.
Oh,
is
shit.
Jimmy Butler. So Chauncey, not a Minnesota fan, clearly.
Oh, salt in the wound. Jesus.
I like this kid. I do like Culver. I thought he was outstanding in college. I think, really, really good pick.
Hey, but you know what? For all the negativity that happens with Butler in Minnesota, I mean, if you get a guy of the same caliber with the right attitude, I mean, there's a lot of positives that came out of that situation, even with Jimmy Butler trying to pull rank on those guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's... For as much as people shat on Jimmy Butler in Minnesota, and rightfully so, you know, because his attitude and whatnot, I mean, they did make the playoffs.
Yep.
What position is he going to play? Small forward?
I think they're playing with the two.
I don't know, man. I think Okogie's really earned those minutes. Maybe they switch, you know, maybe Okogie takes starters minutes and he becomes Okogie off the bench sort of thing till...
Yeah, okay.
I like Josh Okogie, man. I want him in Memphis. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, he really came into his own at the end of last season. I don't like his haircut, but he's a good baller. So the Bulls are on the clock, and they're saying Kobe White. They're saying they're going to go small.
So if they go White, you got to think they're shopping Levine, right?
No, I don't think so.
Because look, I feel like the run, like the contract of Levine, I feel like something Chicago's been trying to shed. Because we've heard Levine come up in trade rumors, you know, throughout the year. You never know. I kind of like Kobe White, man. I know he's not the most complete player, but kind of reminds me a little bit of Eric Gordon.
I don't know. I think he's going to be better in against NBA defenses than college defenses. So I think we're going to see a different version of him in the league.
Yeah. Man,
I just wonder if they'd play him at the... I'd probably play him at the point, to be honest. With Chris Dunn's injuries and... I don't know. It might make Dunn expendable.
What's the go with ESPN giving these fucking school kids these shitty jobs? So the first kid at the top of the stairs gives them the draft cap, and the second one gives them a high five, like a weak ass high five. Like, do you need that? Just get the usher to hand it to them, or get Silver to give it to them, man. Like, don't make these kids stand there for hours over the course of the day doing this rubbish. Some kid's going to forget, give the wrong hat, cause internet chaos. The other kid's going to pull up too slow, you know, do the Fonzie.
Just want to make it simple, huh?
Man, got to cut out the middleman.
The highlight reel is focusing on the passing game of Kobe White, and fairly. I do think. I think he could be. I don't know, groomed to take starting. Well, I think the role is Dunn's to be lost, but
Chauncey's comparing him to Gill. I don't know about that. That's a bit of a stretch. He doesn't have the three ball like Gill.
Yeah, Chauncey's just said it himself. I mean, when he was on, nobody could stop Gilbert Arenas, and there was honestly a 2-year period where you couldn't.
Dude.
You couldn't. And to compare Kobe White with that, that's a huge call, man.
Unless he likes guns, then I can see it.
Oh, too soon.
Even for Arenas fans, I feel a bit dirty saying that.
Yeah, dude was a cancer, but yeah, that's still too soon, dude.
But a lovable one.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. He'll learn a lot from Dunn, but I just think the role that position's his to lose. So an interesting pick, but again, look, I'm a big fan of just picking the best talent on the board and making it work. And I think, given his collegiate career and his potential, I think it's a fair pick by the Bulls.
I mean, I think the real question here is, though, can he keep his hair out of his face? Is he going to go the route of Elfrid Payton? And then, we saw what Elfrid did, triple doubles after he cut his hair. So, dude, do that 2 years ago.
Yeah, Josh Jackson was the same. Got rid of his fro, and yeah, I don't know. I guess it's their thing when they're in college. Let's hope it maybe trims down a little bit. It's pretty crazy at the moment.
He can't even fit his hat on. It's awesome. Who we got next? Who's up next?
I don't know. I want a bit of a shock. I want the crowd to be like, "Ooh, it seems very subdued. This all seems very preordained and not boring, but almost very vanilla."
You know what there's missing from this year's draft, though? The international flavour.
That's true. We've got with the exception of RJ being Canadian,
sure.
we don't have any unknown giant white Europeans being drafted.
Right. Where's our next Aussie in there? Come on.
Do we have anybody in the draft?
I think later in the draft, maybe, but
okay.
Yeah, you know what? The more I'm looking at that, I really like that pick for Minnesota. I think if you look at it, I think that actually, the more I think about it, I think that Jimmy Butler comparison's pretty spot on. Like, if you're looking at that from that standpoint of, he can bring Butler-esque talent to that squad. I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah, and not even potential. Like, it's right now. Like, he's starting quality. He's a, I don't know, I guess, well, it sounds cliche to say, but he could be the future of Minnesota basketball. I mean, you've got Towns, you've got Wiggins, like him or not, you've got a Kogi. This is a young core with a young coach. I mean, they've got, Flip Jr. there as well. It's it's a great pick. It really is. It's genuinely a great pick and a great draft day trade by the Timberwolves to slide into that spot. Great trade. I mean, you gave up Saric and a later pick. I'd do that every day of the week.
I think they're going to make a run at D'Lo.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The point guard spot is open for them. Again, we know they've got one, but they've got an oft-injured one, and obviously Derrick Rose isn't coming back. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they do either. I think that's probably a little bit to do with the Saric move.
Yeah. Forewarning, I have a excited 3-year-old back in the room now, guys, so excuse any noise. But it's how it is.
We're used to 3-year-old-ish tantrums on the podcast.
That reminds me, we will be talking to Vince later on in the show.
That's a bizarre segue. Where did you get that from?
How did we make that connection? It's going to kill me when he listens to this. Oh, here we go, the Hawks. Oh, wow, they didn't even hesitate. Do you see his bling?
Is that Sideshow Bob Lee?
Yes.
That's amazing. Jackson Hayes, huh? He has got Sideshow Bob hair, so it's an interesting...
Robin Lopez is so jealous right now.
So his mum was in the WNBA, his dad was in the NFL. He grew 11 inches in high school.
Whoa.
11 inches in high school, that's incredible. I grew 8 inches, but that's another story.
I'm leaving that in.
No. Yeah, whatever.
How big's that guy?
Just, I don't know, man. He's got some length as well. I think that's a bit of a surprise call as well. And he's relatively new to basketball. I think he only started playing late in his high school career. So that's, he's still got a lot of upside as well. And he's going to Atlanta? Wow, with Collins. Wow.
Maybe it's like a 1-2 punch you're looking at, though.
Oh, yeah, you're playing next to each other. That's awesome.
This Atlanta squad, man, they're dangerous.
Man, they're going to be fast as hell, tall as hell. Man, they're going to give teams trouble.
It's one of those things, we spoke, like I said, we spoke about last year, and it's like, if you're not prepared for these Hawks team, if you're looking at that on the calendar as an easy win and walk into that game unprepared, you're going to walk away with the L.
100%. 100%. 2 years ago today, he was a high school player, barely getting minutes, and he's come of age, and he's a number 8 pick in the NBA draft. Incredible.
I like this kid.
Yeah, got a feeling, right?
Yeah, I like this kid. I think he's going to be big. He's going to be huge.
Oh, no, sorry. He's on his way to the Pelicans?
Oh, really? Oh, the Wizards are in. The Wizards are on the clock.
Wow, he's moving to the Pelicans. I tell you what.
Crazy, man. David Griffin.
That's a great pickup for the Pelicans. Wow, okay.
It's funny, this Wizards team, because they are so tied to this John Wall contract right now. Because what do? If you move Beal, I mean, you're still in the same position, right? Liam, quiet.
I like him.
I've heard of this kid. I haven't watched a lot, though.
I've watched a bit. I called it on another thread. I don't know if I was talking to the Balls Deep boys or somebody else, but I called it that I liked him, man. He's very solid. He's not extremely explosive or dynamic, but I don't know, some sort of like a young Carmelo vibe with him. He's solid. It's a good pick.
Yeah, I know Minnesota were covering this kid for a while, actually, so...
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the player comparisons are, but fundamentally, very good basketball player. He's a very good pickup.
Can I ask a question? Who made this pick? They don't have a GM.
I don't know.
Is this Ted's pick?
As you can see, he's not explosive, he's not fast, but he's just very fundamental. Like a Tobias Harris, like Carmelo Anthony. Here we go. Chauncey will be up in a second, so let's see what he thinks. Ooh.
Why?
Ooh.
Okay.
He's got him compared to Kawhi. That's a big call.
I mean, I suppose for all the listeners out there, this is just a comparison, so it's not saying he's going to end up Kawhi Leonard or these other kids are going to end up these comparisons. It's basically they see glimpses of their game.
Yeah.
But that is a strange comparison. I think I'm a bit more with you on the Tobias Harris comparison, but...
Yeah, he sort of popped up on my radar about a year ago, and I've seen clips of him and watched him a little bit, and obviously know of his story and his heritage and representing Japan. But and he does associate with Japan. Obviously, he says it's my country, and he can't wait to represent his country. So he's obviously very proud of his heritage. But I think he's going to be very solid. It's really cool. He shot down the barrel, said a big shout out to Japan in Japanese. Very well spoken, very, very humble. He's as you would expect from somebody with that cultured background. I think he's going to be a very solid player. The Kawhi comparison actually makes sense now. Just very softly spoken and very well mannered.
Wow, what pick are we up to now? I'm losing track. Yeah.
9, I think.
Yeah. And here we go. Hawks up. Wow, Cam Reddish. To the Hawks.
Does this pick stay with Atlanta?
Don't know. I'm actually surprised he's fallen as far as he has to be.
Great pick, solid player, and if that stays with the Atlanta Hawks, again they've done very well.
Wow. I mean, he's one of those guys who was really in the shadow of Zion and RJ at Duke, and cops a lot of criticism for maybe not becoming. I suppose maybe not living up to the expectation people had on him. I think the big thing with Cam is obviously his height. He can shoot the long ball quite well. He did have one or two really big standout games for Duke, but probably not enough for a lot of even Duke fans really. But it's going to be interesting to see this kid. This kid, I think you got to give a chance because potential wise, he could break out of his shell, not playing in those shadows.
Yeah, 100%.
Thing is, too, though, this kid never complained once last year playing next to those two guys. This is a kid that, can play in a system and is happy to, I don't know if he'd be happy to deter, but, he doesn't need to be your main guy. He's not coming in with some sort of weird ego.
No. Looks like he's got huge hands as well. See the way he just picked up that rock in the highlight?
He's only 18. Holy crap.
I like the Paul George comparison in his sneaky offensive game. He's a roller and he fights through screens and I actually like that comparison a lot.
So far, pretty solid. No massive surprises, but pretty solid draft. So this next pick is the pick that goes back to Phoenix. So Minnesota picking essentially for Phoenix right now.
So Minnesota's on the clock. We're about to pick, and they're picking for the Phoenix Suns based on today's earlier trade up, trade down. Okay, the Tar Heel, Cam Johnson. So he's not at the draft. That's interesting. I didn't think he was going to go this high, or some other circumstance. But another Tar Heel in the first round in the lottery, and versatile.
Strange.
Okay, so drafted by the Timberwolves, going to the Phoenix Suns. Interesting. He's not on the screen, so we're not getting a lot of info about him. But for those who know, I mean, he's I guess they're playing with the 3. Gives them range. Good shooter.
Do you think we could see Booker traded? Do you think, like, end of this year, we could see the potential of Booker being moved out for, like, young assets? Like, I just feel like it's either you bring, like, I know, I feel like this is really a make or break summer for Phoenix, because you've got to go 2 ways. You've got to go, all right, well, we need to make a hard run at, you know, keeping Booker happy. And if you're going to do that, well, you got to have a look at a guy like D'Angelo Russell. You got to look at a guy like Julius Randle. You know, to pair him with the big fella Ayton.
Yeah, look, I think they've got to give it a little bit more time. You know, he is a top talent in the league. Look, we question his motor and you know, his, I don't know, sometimes the way that he admonishes his teammates on the floor. But look, I would keep rolling the dice with Booker and try and build around him, try and convince him to stay. You know, show him that he's your franchise guy. And if you have to, I trade him basically the All-Star break of his last year of his contract to make sure that he doesn't walk for nothing. But in the meantime, I'd try and keep building around him. Okay, so we've got the Charlotte Hornets on the clock. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Pick 12.
They could fill a lot of holes, and that was, I guess, what we were talking about very early in the draft, that after you lock top 3 picks, there are a lot of teams that do have to fill a lot of spots, and also they've got a plan for who they might lose in free agency or might gain later on in free agency as well. So, you know, the obvious hole might not be the obvious hole because we don't know what talks they're in with other teams. So it's, this is when you get into the picks, particularly with teams like Charlotte, that they could go a number of ways to fill a number of positions.
Yeah. I mean, I've liked their picks over the last 2 years, but it just feels weird with, you know, a guy like Malik Monk and who was last year's draft pick? Miles Bridges?
Bridges, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and even he had a little bit of a quieter year than what I thought he would, but man, the kid's so explosive. But it's just, yeah, what direction to go with Kemba? And it feels like, I don't know, it kind of feels like you need to maybe give up some of that young talent if you plan to keep Kemba in town, because you're going to have to surround him with something, like you were touching on, like a trade like bringing in the Kevin Love would make sense. But I don't know, it's just such a weird situation for this Charlotte squad. Like they're not that far gone out of the playoffs, but then in saying that, the past 2 years they haven't looked like they've been close either. So
no, and that's the thing. It's got to be frustrating because you're not tanking, so you're not putting yourself in the position to get a number 1, 2, or 3 pick. And you're not contending because you're not getting yourself good enough to get the 8, 9, or 10 spot. The 8, 7, or 6 spot. Yeah, it's like that twilight zone of NBA basketball. Like something's got to give.
Yeah. I think Memphis, we had the 25th pick. We in the Conley deal, we acquired their pick this year. So I'm just hoping my boy is still there, pick 25, and we take him.
Who do you want with number 5? Hero?
I'm not saying that. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it, Stu.
He won't be there that long.
We're on track. We're on track right now.
Oh.
God damn it!
That's true.
I'm playing dice with the basketball gods, man.
Yeah. Keep praying. I thought Bol would have been taken by now. Let's see what happens.
Oh, he had that injury. I think he only played 9 games. So
okay, PJ Washington Jr. going to the Hornets.
So is this a backup if Kemba walks? Is this a backup plan, or is this a picking for someone else situation? I mean, I like this kid. I think he's very underrated.
Yeah, he was higher on a lot of boards before, before workouts started, and I don't think it's got anything to do with his talent level. Teams just decided that they were going to go in different directions for what they needed. But he was higher on a lot of boards, go back a month or two. So definitely a solid pick by the Hornets. Yeah, again, they're saying he's 6'8". I don't think he is, but it's quick. Quick.
How big did they say?
They're saying he's 6'8".
I thought he was a guard. My God.
He's a big dude, but he's quick. You just saw in the highlight reel he's up fake, and that's a big part of his game because you've got to honour his sort of 18 to 20 footer. And but once he gives you that up fake, he's gone. Loves to attack the ring, and again, as I said, he was higher on a lot of draft boards.
Wow, I legit thought he was a guard. I legit thought he was a guard all year. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of his games, but all year I thought he was a point guard. I thought he was like a big point guard. So I'm kind of a little bit more impressed with him now that I find out he's a power forward. But he's not going to be able to play the power forward in the league, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think he would. I think if he was to slim down and trim down a little bit, he's a very good three.
Yeah.
But he likes to bang though, man. Like he really, really likes to bang. So maybe you could see him at the four again. Remembering that the game's changing, True. A lot of the centers are moving out of the key. It makes it easier for an undersized four.
All right, my prediction is Tyler Hero, the kid I've had my own. I think he goes to Boston at 14.
Because he's white.
Just because I feel like they'll always take a shooter in Boston. They'll always take a shooter.
Is he Mormon?
He's not.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm guessing not. He wore a curtain as his suit today, so I'm guessing not.
Yeah, he's got that white boy swagger. Yeah, look, so far it's been a very safe draft. I think we haven't had any huge draft day trades yet. That is to say that some teams might be waiting before they make some moves, and we can still see movement. But it's all been very steady as she goes.
Yeah. So what we got? We've got 2 picks left to round out the lottery.
Yeah.
So what do we got? Pick 13, we've got Miami Heat. Man, I don't know, another team. They feel kind of like Charlotte in some sense, where it's like you don't really know the direction this team is headed. I feel like they'll have a better year next year now Wade's hung them up. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but...
No, I know what you're saying.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of that whole thing when, Kobe's last season, it's like you kind of just needed him to step down so the new guards could come through and, and try to make a name for themselves instead of like playing off the spotlight. But
yeah, I get it. I think it sounds like Dion Waiters is on the way out.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I heard maybe was it Warriors? I heard having a look at.
I heard the Warriors as well. Yeah,
I'm interested to see what happens with Whiteside this next season because it just feels like a lot of back and forth between himself and management. We've seen the sulking without playing time. I think if Miami take Bol this pick, I think Whiteside's done.
Oh, yeah. If they take Bol, Whiteside is 100% gone. But I like the way that Dragic and Whiteside play together. So, I don't know, you remove Wade, you remove Waiters. Those two have to focus on each other and increase their connection. I don't know. I think it could be good for the franchise. But yeah, you're right. If they pick Bol, gone. Oh, Wayne.
Is it? No!
Guys, I'm watching coverage about 5 seconds before playing, so I can hear his heart break before it did.
Oh man, you know what?
Tyler Hero going to Miami. I like it for them. I really like it for them. That's a great pick.
Enjoy the no tax, buddy. You deserve it, especially with that suit.
Nah, dude, honestly, white boy's got game. He's going to be good. Watch him, guys. He's going to be good.
Oh, he's got a younger brother? I'm sending my scouts out already. The younger brothers always come through better. It's fact. It's fact.
That's a fact, is it? Yeah?
Man, this kid is good, man. This kid is good.
No, it's a good pick for the Miami Heat. Like it makes sense. It's a very solid pick. He should get starters minutes, and he deserves them. He's a very good player.
I'm so jealous.
Man, he has a green light. That shot of his is automatic. Honestly, that's so like good, far out.
Like I said, I see elements of Klay Thompson. I see elements of Kyle Korver. More young Kyle Korver, not so much Kyle Korver now. And he just moves.
Young catch and shoot Korver.
Yeah, 100%. And he just moves really well without the ball. I think he's going to be. I suppose the biggest question mark is going to be defensively, but he's a willing defender. So, yeah, I'm really high on this kid.
The other thing, man, confidence. This guy backs himself.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, as shit as his suit is, I do hope that Bol Bol makes the lottery. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Being the son of an NBA player isn't a cakewalk. You got a target on your back. Particularly, as Bol Bol when he was younger. I mean, 6'8", as he was 12, 13 years old, gangly, pushed around a lot. And I think everybody just thought it was a bit of a sideshow just because he was tall.
Yeah.
Didn't give him a ticket to the league, and he's certainly he certainly proved his worth. He's a pretty good basketball player. Do you have to take a flyer on Taco Fall?
Ooh, yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't see the biggest thing they always talk about. Holy shit.
No, it's an old trade.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And then they fell out of my chair.
They just flashed a trade on the screen. The 76ers and Celtics had done the trade swap, but it was for 2006.
I was like,
we all just shit up to
what? What did I miss?
Okay. Yeah, Markel Fultz is going back to the Sixers.
It's like, how did this happen? Shit, so much going through my head. Yeah, look, with Taco, my biggest thing is I don't think his game translates. I mean, I hope he comes out and proves me wrong. No, actually, I want to be right about something. No. I just think he's too slow. Like watching him in the NCAA, especially, I think all eyes were on that Duke game, and he was effective, but I mean,
yeah. You
just
have
getting
to slow
up and down the
your
court,
game
man.
to fit him in.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know that I would take him in the first round because
That's very cool. I could see somebody who's got multiple picks and they've got what they need, maybe giving you going on him. But yeah, you're right. I mean, a couple of good games, but you got to look at the context of them. They were slow down and let's bang and beat them up games, and you can't live off those in the NBA.
Okay, so if here's my thing. Boston have 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
If he's still there on their final pick, they pick the Knicks to round out the lottery. Then they pick at 20 and 22. If he's there at 22, I think maybe I take the gamble on that pick.
Okay. Well, time will tell. We're only going to be recording the lottery for those who are listening. We'll give a recap later on tonight.
Yep.
We'll get Vinrock on the phone and we'll talk about the picks. We'll probably have some trades to talk about, and we'll also be able to talk about the depth after the lottery as well. So we're currently we're about to do our final pick for the morning.
To wrap it up for the morning, I've enjoyed this year. I think last year was probably a little bit more exciting just because we had so many moves made around it, but I mean, this is only the first 14 picks. There's still plenty of time between now and our next recording, so
yeah, a lot can happen during the day, and I'm sure a lot will happen during the day. But yeah, here we go. Boston Celtics about to round up our lottery coverage.
Fuck, I cannot wait for us to get out from this Boston grip with the Grizz.
Oh, you and everybody else has done a trade with Danny Ainge.
Yeah. Do you reckon he's capitalised?
Oh, yes and no.
I mean, he's about to lose Irving and Horford. He's the pick.
Okay,
wow.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of what sort of a protection measure that is. Well, your last question, has he capitalised? Look, I think it's undeniable that probably over the last 3 seasons of building this Celtics team that we're looking at, he capitalised on it and did what he could, but it didn't do what it was meant to do. So yeah, he capitalised, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
I mean, you get Kyrie, you get Morris Twin, you get Horford, you get Tatum, you get Brown. I mean, you get Hayward. You've had a good window. But if that doesn't translate to chemistry and harmony and wins, then yeah, something went amiss.
So I suppose it's just the way the game goes sometimes. There's no guarantee landing a stack of picks.
Mm.
I mean, there's a reason why some of these teams are here year after year after year, not capitalising on picks or picks not working out.
Oh, dude, I'm a Lakers fan. We've had that many number 2 and lottery picks that that just in a win now culture and a high expectation city like LA, you can do the right things in the draft and make the right moves, and sometimes it just doesn't get you to where you need to go as quick as the league keeps moving, because it's not just you that's wheeling and dealing. There are 29 other teams trying to go for that LOB trophy. So, man, I like this pick for the Celtics, but it is curious as to what else is going to happen for them either today or in the off season.
Yeah. Romeo Langford, huh? We'll see.
We'll see.
know
Yeah.
what?
So I mean, that's a 2-guard. So Boston, over to you. What are you going to do for the rest of the off season?
Really happy not to see the Sacramento Kings here this year.
It's weird not seeing the Sacramento Kings here. I will say that.
Right? They should have a pick 7, surely.
It's unusual. We normally see
I mean, you have your regular spot.
Philadelphia.
You have your regular spot down front, and where are you?
Yep.
Where are you?
Yeah, we've normally got the Kings. We've normally got the 76ers. Both notable absentees from the lottery this year.
Good for them.
It is good for them. I mean, look, I think we all hoped, particularly when it comes to the Kings, that they could have pushed themselves into the 8th spot in the West. And, given that they're not losing anybody this off-season, although I heard that Harrison Barnes is being spoken about.
Yes, I did see that, actually. Opting out?
Opting out, but I believe that he does want to stay. It's a water test to gauge the temperature out there for him and what he's worth. So,
yeah. And a lot of them
stay the course. I think we said it through the podcast. Like just build with them. You've got Hield, you've got Fox, you've got Colby Stein, you've got Bagley.
Dude.
Just stay the course.
Have you seen the photos of Buddy Hield lately?
No.
Okay, he looks like an NFL player. Just warning you, he looks like a linebacker for the NFL.
What, hitting the weights? Or
Dude.
hitting the Krispy Kremes?
All right, so we're going to take a quick intermission here, guys. Of course, that was our lottery. While we do that, though, I want you all Google Buddy Hield. Check out his Instagram account. I think he put up a recent picture lately on there, and he looks like an NFL linebacker. We'll be back with more of a wrap-up with the People's Champ, Vince Germano. Of course, he'll be joining us, and we'll be talking about how the rest of this lottery plays out. Thank you all for joining us. Stu, thank you, good sir.
You are more than welcome, my friend. We'll do it all again next year. But in the meantime, we'll put the phones down. We'll put the recorders down. We'll watch the end of this. And we'll recap tonight with some picks, some trades, I'd imagine, and the opinions of the one and only Vince Germano.
Watch out! Here it comes.